Hello Mzansi, welcome back to another episode in our Meet the Farmer Mentor series here on Farmers Inside Track. My name is Duncan Masiwa. Now in this episode we head to the Free State to meet a young farmer, Johannes Willem Derksen, who has been farming alongside his father in Hertzogville for the past 4 years now. After gaining international experience, Johannes returned home with a clear vision, and that is to achieve maximum yields on minimum hectares while staying true to his philosophy of back to basics. Johannes shares insights into their current farming system, producing maize, soybeans and sunflowers, and explains why building and repairing their own implements on farm saves both time and money. Johannes Willem, it is lovely being able to chat with you. You've been farming with your father for the past 4 years, but I understand that's not where your farming journey starts. It goes all the way back, as opposed to when you were helping your father on the farm from a young boy. Vat ons gou deur daai vroeë jare in jou kinderdae, hoe dit gelyk op die plaas.
I think most guys gonna sit here and tell you they started driving tractors when they were 6 and stuff like that. My dad had kind of a different approach. He was more like, if you wanted to farm, if he stands up at 6, if you're not awake, he's going. If you're not there, he's going to go without you. So we started later, I think, than most guys. But when we started, it wasn't something your father said, you must be there, or something you must do. It was more, you want to be there.
You had a bit of a choice.
Yeah, we had a choice. So I think that's nice. I think it's quite different from most other guys. So my father always said, you don't have to farm one day. If you want to farm and that's what you want to do, then you'll do it and you'll stand up, you'll be there and you'll learn and stuff. So I think that's quite different.
So he also allowed you to sort of choose your own direction in
Yes, definitely. It's like I said, I think it's different from other guys' approaches, but in the end, it made me realize it's what I wanted to do. I'm not doing it because it's my father or something I inherited. It's something I love to do, and that's why I'm doing it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about your farm. It's based in Hertzogville district in the Free State. Paint us a picture of what it exactly is that you grow there.
We do row crop mostly. We don't have any animals or something like that, so row crop based. We do anything that you can grow in a row. So maize, soybeans, sunflowers. We did a little bit of cotton a few years back. It's also droeland, so no irrigation or something like that. So it's mostly dependent on the rain. So we do crops that we can do in our area with the rainfall we have. If it grows in a row, we've done it. My brother does a little bit of hay and stuff like that, but more small. It's just for him on the side.
So you have siblings, you have a brother
and a sister, both younger than me.
All involved in the farming business?
My sister is still at university. My brother is also on the farm.
So obviously with that sense of freedom that your dad gave you guys, you somehow ended up in America. What led you to America?
So I went to Soltech. I don't know if you guys know, it's a Ambach school in Pretoria. It's part of Solidariteit. So I went there, qualified as a millwright, and then I worked on the mines for about 3 or 4 years. And then after my daughter was born, we kind of felt like we want to go back to the farm. So that kind of started happening. Are we going back to the farm? How's that going to look? I have my own family now. What's the situation going to be with us and our family? Just before I went back to the farm, I went to America. For me, it was, I wanted to see how they do stuff and for the experience and just to see the different side of agriculture and how they do stuff. What you can do there that we can do here. For me, it was a learning experience.
So doing research, I suppose. How long were you working there and what exactly were you involved in? All 5 months?
Yeah, I was only there, yeah. They said I was there for a long time, but I think there was a little bit of confusion between the mine working and the America stuff. But yeah,
so 5 months in America and that was for research.
So I worked for 2 brothers, great guys, Killebrew Cotton Company. You guys can go Google them. like one of the biggest cotton production in the South.
Yeah.
So they do a lot of cotton. We did maize, soybeans. But the learning thing for me there was not how they do things. It was more about how they organize their stuff, how they run their stuff, the amount of land they work with, the amount of people there is. When they started, they were the only two guys working. I think they started at 1,000 acres. So they worked 500 hectares, just him and his brother, no one else. So I think that's amazing. The experience is how they do so much with as little people as possible, because labor is expensive. So it makes sense to try and do more with less people.
I'm quite curious to find out what are some of the tricks and the information that you learned over there and how you've sort of started introducing it back here. But maybe let's first look at how your farm is currently set up. What does that look like?
Basically, it's me and my father. We are working together. My brother is kind of on his own at the moment. I say on his own, he just does more of his own thing, and me and my father do our own thing. So that's kind of how that works. My father and me run and manage the bigger portion of the farm.
Is there a crop rotation system in place?
I've been on the farm 4 years now. We've been doing a rotation between corn and soybeans for the last 3 years. It has mostly to do about the climate we have and the amount of rain, because that does influence us a lot. But for the last 3 years, we've just seen we have better yields and better quality maize if we don't do maize on maize. So we do soybeans and maize, and then the ground that's not as high potential, we do sunflower between corn or soybeans. Like I said, corn needs other nutrition than soybeans, and soybeans uses other nutrition than corn. So you have a more balanced thing.
Yeah.
So it just works better for us, yeah.
And then your markets, who are your markets?
From the farm to the silos, we sell the raw product from there. So we don't do any marketing after that. So we just go from the farm to the silos. We sell the raw product as easy.
Yeah. Back to America. So you spend 5 months in America. You are working on this farm and learning from these two brothers who are farming together. What is some of the tricks and techniques or lessons that you bring back? And have you started implementing it on your farm here in the Free State?
When I first got back, you have all these big ideas and stuff you saw. And I think with time, you kind of realize, all right, this is not going to work for us and that may work for us. I think the biggest thing for me was how they divided the work between themselves. So the one brother was more orientated on the harvest, and the other brother was working the ground. What do you need to do to prepare? Just how they split the work between them, and it's like the one wasn't messing with the other one's stuff. There was a system. So I think, especially when you're in a business where there's families, and me and my brother and my father, and most farmers feel the same way. It's hard to work for a boss, but if your boss eats supper with you at night, you know, it's different. Yeah? So I think it's just how to let everybody do the thing they're good at, and realizing, all right, this guy does this and this guy does that, and just sticking with that. And if it works for you, just do that.
Oor 'n tydperk van 'n seisoen, hoeveel keer trap jy op mekaar se tone?
Gisteroggend.
So recently.
Gisteroggend. So ek bedoel, it's moeilik.
It's part of business, right?
The thing I can say about that is you're not the same person. So you're going to disagree. So disagree now, 5 minutes later, work together. Don't take it personally in the moment. Move on, work together. Me and my father are quite good like that. We can disagree now, and 5 minutes later, we like nothing happened, and then everybody else is mad at us.
Yeah. That's quite important for me, because there's a lot of families in the agricultural sector that work together, and oftentimes they don't know how to separate the business side with the family side, and so there's a lot of head-butting.
You say separate the business and the family side. I think you don't separate it. I think it's a family business. The word sticks together. It's family business. So everybody needs to be there. And the decision can be, like in our situation, the final decision is kind of my father's. But there must be a way in from the mother, you, your brother, your sister, if she is there. It's a collaboration, but it doesn't need to be a collaboration in the sense of everybody has an equal vote. there must be a guy that makes the decision, and he needs to be able to listen to the inputs from the other guys and take that into consideration. So that comes down to leadership. And my father is an excellent leader.
Yeah.
I think he's an amazing person. I mean, I always say we wouldn't do what we do today if it wasn't for him. And he will say, you wouldn't do today what you do today if it wasn't for your grandfather. So yeah, it's nice to have that respect. But trust the guy, the leader. Everybody needs to weigh in. There needs to be an open relationship and a communication about everything. Finances, tractors, buying stuff, not buying stuff.
I want to talk a bit later about finances and how you guys approach decision making about those sorts of things. Your motto is back to basics. What does that mean to you, and how does that reflect in how the farm is managed?
So the back to basic thing was when I was filling in the stuff for Vrystaat Landbou Jong Boer, I was sitting there and they're asking us questions about systems and what do you do that changed the farm and stuff like that. And the only thing I could think of, there was this rugby coach we had in school. And then when he was coaching, he was always like, boys, back to basics. Just do the little things right and the rest of the stuff will come. If you're a prop, you're there to scrum, you're there lineouts, do your job and the other stuff will fall in place. Don't focus on the other stuff. And when I was sitting and writing the Vrystaat Landbou stuff, and when they're asking what new stuff did you bring in, and the only thing I was thinking was, we just focus on the little stuff. The way we farm is the way my father has been farming for 25 years. Not exactly the same. Small stuff has changed, but we do the basic stuff. And if we do everything we can, the harvest will be there. When I was sitting and writing it, the only thing that came to mind was, that's the whole premise of how we work, is just do the small thing right.
I suppose it also makes one remember that what works for farmer A doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for farmer B and C.
The back to basics was also kind of, if you see the amount of money that is spent in agriculture, in technology and new stuff every year. I mean, there's a million new things that guys said works better than the stuff that worked last year. So the thing is, you can't change every year. Like you said, what works for you, stick to that. If it works for you and it doesn't work for the guy next to you, it doesn't matter. Just stay with the stuff that works for you.
In your own words, you said that the current system you have, that werk for you, it works for you. But you also believe that it's important to learn from past mistakes and to stay up to date with modern practices. What are some of the biggest mistakes that you've made on the farm that might have cost you a couple of R1,000, and with the lessons that you learned from that?
When we started doing soybeans, kind of went into it with the mentality of, we've been planting corn for many, many years now. And I mean, how much harder can it be to do that? So I think underestimating the first year, especially underestimating the change between the two crops. I don't think we did bad, but that first year from planting soybeans to the second year, there was a large learning curve. We adjusted a lot of stuff and we made a lot of mistakes. Even in harvesting, in planting, there was a lot of stuff that needed to change. And we kind of went into it like, how hard can it be? So I think overestimating your own skill level.
You're not alone in that. I would imagine that many farmers make the same mistakes where you expand into a different crop and you sort of underestimate the strategy that goes into making sure that the crop that you're now planting is actually successful when it comes time to harvest.
Like I said, there was an exponential growth from the first to the second year. I mean, now we're in our fourth season now, and just speed of planting, depth, the amount, the stand, plantjies per hectare. We made so much changes, and I think the little things like the amount of fertilizer and that, it stayed the same. Like the basics were there, it's just the smaller stuff. The things that we saw didn't make a difference. We canceled that out and tried just to stick with, keep it as simple as possible and don't try to do a million other things. Just do the things that we saw worked. Back to basics. Yeah, it always comes back to that. Just do the little things right. I mean, a lot of things can happen. This year was a great example. We had no rain, and then we went from no rain to extreme flooding. So you can't control that stuff. It's gonna happen. Just make sure the stuff you could manage it in such a way that the external stuff doesn't make that big of a difference.
Yeah. You talk about one moment struggling or fighting drought, and then the next moment is fighting flooding.
Yeah.
Natuurlijk is daar baie dinge wat boere s'nags wakker hou. As 'n jong boer, wat hou vir jou wakker?
Nee, ek slaap nie. My vrou strooptyd en planttyd, sy het so siening van, she tells everybody she's married, but for 6 months of the year she doesn't have a husband. I don't sleep very well. Harvesting not so much, planting I don't sleep.
Is dit omdat jy bekommerd is dat jy nie genoeg aan oes nie? Wat is dit omtrent daai tyd wat vir jou slapelose nagte gee?
Ek weet nie hoe om dit vir iemand te beskryf nie. Is 'n ou wat plant. Hy sal vir jou sê die plant het nog nie begin as daar so 3 ouens nog nie in John Deere hulle toys uit die kot uit gegooi het nie. Jy weet, dis nie net jy nie. Ek dink baie mense maak daai ding van ook is dit gaan net sleg by jou, verstaan? Maar ek dink ek het dit op by die jong boer ook sê. Ek dink dis wat die jong boer ding nice gemaak het vir my wat ek nou ingeskryf het en so aan. As jy met die ander ouens praat ook, verstaan, is jy dink altyd, "Jesus, jong, dit kan nie so sleg gaan by die ander ouens nie." En dan kom jy daarso en jy praat bietjie met die ouens, dan dink jy myself, ek hoop nie dit gaan so sleg by my soos wat by daai ou gaan nie. Ek dink dis moeilik. Ek dink ouens moet met mekaar praat en daai community help.
That was of course Johannes Willem, a commercial farmer based in the Free State. You can of course read more on this topic by visiting www.foodfromzansi.co.za. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss any of the episodes. From me, Duncan Masiwa, our technical producer Megan van der Vent, and the rest of Team Food from Zanzi, thanks for listening.